Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And today's range report is on one awesome AR-15, a gun that I have been looking so forward to reviewing. This is the Knights Armament SR-15 E3 Mod 2. Yeah, that's a lot of letters and numbers there. But that's because this rifle is so amazing. It needs all those indicators to tell you how great it is. Now, all joking aside, this is one really cool and very expensive rifle. And so I'm very humbled to get to shoot this. And so before I talk about the things I like and don't like, I always want to thank the people that make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this fantastic rifle. He's a local subscriber. His name is D. D, thank you so much for lending this to the channel for review. I am honored and humbled that you entrust me with such a nice gun. I want to thank my Patreons as always, because through their monthly donations and support, they help keep the lights on around here. I always tell you guys, I'm one of those YouTube bad boys. Apparently, I don't make family-friendly content. Yeah, I don't know why they say that, but that's just the case. So not everything I make is monetized, and they help me so much. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor who makes every one of these range reports possible, because I have to shoot these guns so much, and he provides all the ammunition, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And yes, it's that time in the video where I talk about Brownworks once again and Mark's amazing craftsmanship. He makes some of the finest wood grips for a number of firearms out of a number of exotic woods and materials. I know if you're here watching this video, you are into high-end, expensive firearms. And I know you have a gun like a collector grade 1911, a Beretta 92, a CZ, and you like fine things. After all, as I said, you're here to look at a review of this amazing gun. Well, you need a set of fine wood grips for that gun that are customized to you and you alone. A set of one-off grips that nobody else has. Well, I have the perfect company for you, and that is Brownworks. As I said, Brownworks makes some of the best grips on the market. He can make grips out of laminate woods, exotic materials, exotic woods, finish them in a number of different ways, a number of different colors. He can even put on custom logos and engravings. Anything you can come up with, I guarantee Mark can make. So I'm going to ask you guys to go over there and check out his website. I'm going to put it as a pinned comment on this video and in the description, as well as a 10% off coupon code for your first order. Go over there, see what he has to offer, and if you don't find what you're looking for, make sure to email him, and when you do, tell him the Texas Gun Vault sent you. All right, so let's talk about this amazing rifle. Yes, the rifle with the super duper long name. It is the SR-15 E3 Mod 2, but everyone's just going to know this as the SR-15. And what the heck does SR stand for? Many times the companies, when they designed AR-15s, they just used their company's abbreviation and put 15 on it. But what does SR stand for? It stands for Stoner Rifle. If you don't know, Eugene Stoner was the original designer of the AR-15, which became the M16. And after he left Armalite, he ended up later in his life working for Knights Armament. So this is kind of a homage to him and his legacy. So he worked for Knights. He helped continue to develop the AR-15 into what you see here. He used all of his knowledge and engineering skills to continue to upgrade his amazing design. And so Knights Armament gave the name of their rifle in honor of him, the SR-15. And of course, this particular model is a non-NFA version, so it's not select fire, it's not a short-barreled rifle, it is a civilian version of their top-of-the-line AR-15. This is a direct gas impingement. It is just a well-built, well-tuned rifle, really designed more for military and law enforcement purposes. And they're kind of hard to find on the civilian market, and when you do, these things are really expensive. But let's talk about the things that I like and don't like. Well, the first thing is, it's a Knights Armament. Man, they have such a legacy. Now, Knights is kind of like one of those companies like Rolex. It's definitely a brand name. They make a lot of products, and even their small products like their sights cost a lot of money. Do they really cost that much to manufacture? Well, no, but owning anything Knights Armament is kind of a status symbol in the firearms community. They just are that company that kind of started the whole Gucci trend. Even though they've never really had Gucci products from a design standpoint, they were just the company to have. If you had a lot of money and wanted to spend it on a fine AR-15, you bought a Knights Armament. Now, a lot of companies have come and gone since Knight have been making these amazing rifles, but they're kind of like the OG of the expensive AR-15. And so to have a Knights Armament is just a status symbol. So when you buy one of these, you're joining an elite club. They're very, very expensive. But also to go along with that, we have the aesthetics. Now, Knights is not one of those companies that do all the cutesy stuff. They build rifles for military and police. And the aesthetics of this rifle are the best in the industry, in my opinion. It has a very industrial look. It blends the classic with the modern. It's just a great, great looking rifle. You don't get a lot of frilly stuff on it, but you get everything that you could possibly want. As I mentioned, it looks very industrial. It looks modern. It looks classic. It's just a very well-built, great-looking AR-15. I just love the way that these guns really look. And part of that look on this particular rifle is the inclusion of this really cool M-LOK rail. So the barrel is free-floated, and man, do you get a ton of M-LOK slots all over this rail. So you can mount any type of accessory that you could possibly want in a bunch of different places. Yeah, that is just really nice. Now, something else that Knights is known for is their triggers. They make fantastic triggers. These I definitely would say are duty mil-spec triggers, but they are amazing. And I can tell you this rifle does not disappoint. So let me go ahead and safety check this firearm. Yeah, we are definitely clear. And this trigger is just fantastic. We're just wow. Very short reset. You are right there back at that wall. It has a very clean break. It's not too light. Now, personally, I don't like very light triggers on ARs, but this is just right. And I have a feeling I'm going to be able to run this gun really fast. So I can't wait to shoot it. And something else that I really like about this gun, but I can't show you right now. In fact, I will be making another video about it. It is the extractor design on the bolt. When it comes to the heart of an AR-15, the bolt is really, really important. And they have a very different design. So I'm actually going to make a separate video and probably post it a day after this particular range report and talk about it. But they have redesigned the extractor and the bolt a little bit, and I think it's absolutely ingenious. So now let's talk about the couple of things that I don't like. For some reason on these, they have decided to go with a Magpul grip. Now I actually prefer the old classic A2 grips. Knights really likes the classic stuff, but for some reason they've kind of modernized to this. I just prefer those A2 grips. They fit my hand just a little bit better. And they've also decided to go with a cheaper Magpul stock. Now these are very functional. They work great. They're mil-spec. I'm just kind of surprised they went in this direction and didn't go with something like the LMT SOP mod stock, but these definitely work. And of course, that is something that you can change out. But for the price point of this rifle, I kind of expect something a little bit more. Now comes the big thing that I'm not really a fan of, and it's really going to surprise a lot of fans of the Texas Gun Vault. And that's going to be the finish of this gun. Yeah, this gun is definitely in the right color. It is in flat, dark earth. And you guys know I just have something for flat, dark earth guns. I think they just look so cool. However, the finish on this gun is just a Cerakote finish. This gun really is not anodized this color like other companies. They just simply take an all black SR-15 and Cerakote it. But beyond that, I think they're really cheap with it. They don't Cerakote all of the individual parts and then build the rifle. They build the rifle and then they Cerakote it. So you can definitely tell when you look in the magwell that the outer part of this gun is Cerakoted, the inner part is not. It kind of looks a little bit cheap. Up here on the muzzle device, you can actually see where the paint gets on it, where they taped it off, but there's overspray. Very surprising about that. Another thing is the charging handle. And let me open this gun up here and I'll show you this charging handle. Let me take this out here and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So there is the bottom of the charging handle. If I can get that into focus there. I know it likes to focus on my face. There it goes. Yeah, you can see how cheap that is. And this is just an old standard charging handle. They should have Cerakoted this separate or anodized their uppers and lowers. Now, I understand that these are military guns, and that's fine for the military. However, when you are paying top dollar for this rifle, I kind of expect something a little bit more than just a Cerakote job. Now, the Cerakote job does look good. There's no splatter. There's no running. It's applied very evenly. However, it just looks cheap. Another thing here is on the ejection cover. You can actually see the overspray there. All along here. Yeah, it just looks like someone just took a rattle can and painted it. I don't like that. It gives a very cheap aesthetic to otherwise a very beautiful gun. And so for me, that gives me some pause when it comes to dropping the money and spending the money on a rifle like this. I still like this gun. I still think it's cool, but I really feel for the price, they can do a little bit better than that. All right, so let's get this awesome gun to the range. Let's see how it shoots. I'm so excited to shoot this. I've never shot a complete Knights Armament gun. I actually own a Knights Armament SR-15 lower on one of my Mark 18 clones, but I've never shot the complete rifle. So this is gonna be a real treat for me. I can't wait to get this thing to the range and feel the trigger and really see how it performs. So let's do that. I'm gonna set up the target at 15 yards first, load up one of these magazines, just see what the initial grouping is, make sure this Night Force scope is zeroed, just see how it performs, how it's gassed, what the recoil is, and generally, how I like it. And as expected, the gun ran great. This trigger is awesome. The gun also seems like it has less recoil than other AR-15s, and I think I know why. This gun, I think, is perfectly gassed. I don't think it has an adjustable gas block, but they have tuned this gun really well. And the reason I say that is, number one, it is low recoil, it's cycling great, it's ejecting the spent cases just like I would hope, but also I don't really smell or feel the gas in my face. So I'm really happy with how well this gun is tuned. I really think that they spent a lot of time with the gas system on these guns to make them so reliable. So on its first shots, I could not be happier. All right, so let's set up the target now as far out as I can on this range. I know it's only 25 yards. I'm sorry, guys. I don't really have access when I film these range reports to go out to 100 yards. It's just the situation that I'm in, but I'm gonna shoot this gun offhand, see what happens to this group now that I know it's running great and what to expect from the trigger, and just see how it performs. So let's shoot this gun at a little bit further range. And this gun just continues to be a very pleasant firearm to shoot. It's accurate, great trigger, and something that now I'm noticing that I'm holding it for longer and trying to hold it steady, the balance of this gun is fantastic. I really feel like with this scope, the center of gravity is about right over the ejection port. It's not front heavy. That's something I don't like on ARs when they have the big thicker barrels or the longer barrels or very heavy handguards. I don't really feel like I'm having to exert a lot of energy with my non-shooting hand having to support it. So it feels very balanced. So I can shoot this thing all day. Yeah, I'm really starting to like this. And once again, I have no issues whatsoever with feeding or ejection. It's just a fun and pleasant gun to shoot. All right, so I want to get this in the hands of my wife. She loves to shoot AR-15s. I definitely think she's going to enjoy it. I know she doesn't like the color. I know she's going to say, I wish it wasn't pink. I think she's going to shoot this thing really well. But I'm not really sure if she's going to be able to understand why this gun costs so much. She's not a gun nerd like I am, but I'm excited to have her shoot it. So let's see how she does and what she thinks. And as expected, she shot it great and really liked it. Normally she has something negative to say about every gun she shoots because she likes to give me some type of feedback for these range reports. And she said she absolutely loved this, one of the most pleasant AR-15s to shoot. I thought she shot it fantastic. She didn't have any issues whatsoever. And she always asked the question, does it come in pink? And I'm like, no, nobody in the world is going to take a Knight's Armament SR-15 and Cerakote it pink. I am so sorry. And then she asked, how much does it cost? And I was like, well, you're looking at right now between $3,000 and $4,000, and in some places even $5,000 because they're so hard to find. And she goes, okay, I don't like it that much. She doesn't understand and appreciate what this gun is, but I totally understand it. I know the casual gun person might not, but a gun nerd like myself, yeah, I kind of look at it and go, it's a lot of money. Maybe it's a little bit too much for me, but I definitely can appreciate it at that price. All right, so the next test I'm going to do is the quick magazine change. Now remember, I am just an average gun guy. I am not a competitive shooter, but you are probably going to buy this gun. You're probably going to use it for home defense. You're probably going to use it for competition shooting. And if an average gun guy like myself can get these magazines out, get this gun back in action really fast, well, someone like you that trains on this all the time definitely can as well. I'm also excited to see how fast I can pull this awesome trigger. So let me just see how I can do this, how fast I can do it, if I can get the gun back in action, and if I experience any issues. All right, I can definitely shoot this trigger fast. Man, I cannot wait to get to the mag dump, or the gun porn as I like to call it. That's gonna be fun. But I felt like this thing performed great. However, I did have a little bit of a tricky time getting the magazine out of there. And I think that's because of the finish, that Cerakote. One of the things about Cerakote that I don't like is that it does add a little bit of thickness to the metal. And so they did paint into the mag well just a little bit. And I think that different contrast and surface and that little bit of extra texture slowed me down getting that magazine out of there. It didn't want to drop out like it does on other lower receivers. Is that a big issue? Not really, but I did notice it, especially when I was going for speed. I did try it a couple of other times and experienced the same thing. So maybe over time, and if you find the right magazine that works better in this gun that might be a little bit looser, you won't have that issue. It definitely goes in and out of there just fine. It's just a little bit slower and has a little bit more friction than other AR-15s that I have shot. All right, so now, as I said, it's time just to do the fun test. This has no other function than me just having fun and giving you guys a little bit of what I call the gun porn. What a lot of people just want to see, these guns being shot fast, and I think this thing is going to run great. So let me load up one more magazine and shoot this thing as fast as I possibly can. Woo, that was fast, and I gotta say, I'm really impressed with this trigger. Not only could I shoot this gun fast, I could shoot it consistent. Now I'm gonna tell you a little story. After I filmed that at the Frisco Gun Club, one of the range officers from a couple ranges down came into the private VIP lane and said, "Who's shooting a machine gun?" Now, we're allowed to shoot machine guns there. He was just wanting to see what gun I was shooting. So I was like, no, that's actually just a semi-auto rifle. You can inspect it yourself. He came over and go, wow, that is a really nice gun. And he was blown away because he thought that was really a full auto gun. Now, I don't think I shot it as fast as a full auto rifle, but I think it was the consistency that made it sound like it was. So I really took that as a compliment. And as I said, I'm not a professional shooter, and maybe that's just me kind of bragging a little bit, but I was really impressed with that mag dump. All right, so what are my final thoughts on the SR-15 E3 Mod 2 by Knights Armament? Well, if you like guns with military provenance and have that industrial military look, I think Knights Armament really is the pinnacle. This is not a Gucci AR-15, even though it is in that price point, but you don't get all those cutesy handguards and all the different cutesy colors and the lightning cuts and the barrels and the spiral cuts and all that. You just get a mil-spec looking AR-15 that is really, really tuned well. I've really grown to appreciate the balance of this rifle, the gas system of this rifle, because as I mentioned, it is just tuned perfectly. And after taking this gun apart and cleaning it, I'm really impressed with that new designed bolt, which I'll do a whole nother video on, as I mentioned. The gun is just so well balanced. And for being a military style AR-15, it's just awesome. Now, my biggest complaint once again is what I talked about in the beginning of the video. Come on, Knights, for a gun that I believe retails generally for between $3,200 and $3,500, but when it comes to the actual street price, because the availability of these things, you're talking $4,000 to $5,000, you can do better than a Cerakote job of a complete rifle where you have overspray on the parts. Now, I know that kind of looks like a military gun, but for a lot of people, I just feel like for $5,000, they're going to think that's just not acceptable. I even know in the past when I was looking for Knights Armament sights for my Mark 18 builds, and I was looking online, and some people were complaining saying, hey, I got this set of brand new sights for Knights Armament, and it looks like they were dropped on the floor and dragged on the cement. And that's just the way Knights Armament is. They don't really care about their finishes, and I totally get it. As I said, they are a military and police contractor. And when you buy a Knights, you know what you're getting. You're not buying an LWRC. You're not buying a Daniel Defense. You're buying a Knights Armament, which is at its core is going to be a fantastic rifle, but their finishes are just kind of blah. They're second thoughts. And I really feel like if you're going to spend this type of money or ask for this type of money on the civilian side of things, you can do a little bit better. But to their credit, the Cerakote job does look very nice for what it is. As I said, there's no runs, there's no blotches, it's applied evenly. It just seems cheap because they just did it over a complete rifle. And because of that, I can't give it a 5 out of 5 stars. However, everything else about the gun I absolutely love. Now, I am going to give one more caveat to this whole finish thing. If I was going to buy one of these rifles, I'd still buy one in flat dark earth, and I would deal with these color issues and this overspray issues because it's a Knights Armament. Yes, I just complained about it. I know, but I guess I'm a complete sucker. But the gun performs so well. It just performs so well. And it's one of those guns that makes me look like a way better shooter than I actually am. So on my star system, how would I rate the SR-15 E3 Mod 2 from Knights Armament? It is going to get 4.5 stars out of 5. Yeah, I really want to give it 4.75 or a perfect review of 5 out of 5. It's just going to be that finish and a little bit off for the cheaper grip. I know the A2 grip would even be cheaper, but to me that's more of the classic look and I think would fit this rifle a little bit more. And that's what I would prefer out of the box. I know I could put one on if that's the direction that I wanted to go with. So wow, what an awesome rifle. What a pleasure to shoot. And I now appreciate Knights Armament for their engineering and their building way more than I ever did, but I still feel like their finishes leave a lot to be desired. So what do you guys think? Have you ever shot or owned an SR-15 or the SR-25 chambered in 308, which hint, 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 that's going to be one of my next reviews, so be looking forward to that. So what do you think of the Knights Armament? It's just a cool, cool gun. Do you want one if you don't own one? I know. If I could afford one, I'd probably want this one. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.